Kevin, and I'm joined once again by the chief Action Games and Comics independent correspondent, Aaron. Welcome back, Aaron.
How's it going?
And this week we're also joined by the man with a plan, Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
Yes, Kona.
What's up? What's up?
How's it going, guys?
Right.
I'm excited.
Very excited?
Very excited.
Sweet.
It's
I'm excited.
Very.
On a scale from 1 to 10.
1,000.
I get to play with my toys.
And eat them too. What's up?
My wonderful toys.
Alright, you guys. What we got for you this week, we got 3 Green Lantern issues. We got Green Lantern Corps, and Green Lantern Emerald Warriors. And we got Caligula from Avatar, Strange Adventures, Vertigo, Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine from Marvel. We got Kirby Genesis from Dynamite, and Witch Doctor from Image.
Which doctor?
Witch Doctor. In addition,
One on the cover.
the one on the cover. Boom. After that, we got a little bit of some old school stuff going on here. We're going to be looking at The Pro by Garth Ennis. It's going to be a real treat. All right. Let's get started with Caligula by Avatar. Caligula, for those of you that are familiar with the old movie, and or even some of you history buffs that may know about Caligula, this guy was the Mac Daddy of horror. When you want to talk about blood, guts, boobs, anything you want to deal with, it's just real good. You got the protagonist who's basically trying to go after Caligula basically had sex with his mother and then chopped her head off. So if you like that kind of stuff, and of course David Lapham.
I like that kind of stuff.
Right, Reggie? Right.
Can't disagree.
Right.
So yeah, some very nice images.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and keep in my head.
Well said, Ricky. Well said.
Mental click.
Pick it up. Next up, Aaron, what we got?
Witch Doctor, which is in the back of Walking Dead. Now, Witch Doctor is by Brandon Seifert and Lucas, whose name I cannot remember.
It's on the front there.
It's on the front. Yeah.
Look at
Can
that.
you read that for me?
Yeah. Lucas Kentner.
Thank you.
Kettner.
I didn't want
Lucas
to. I did not want
Kettner.
to turn the book away from the audience. It's actually really good. The book centers on a man who was a sorcerer and a doctor. So it's not your voodoo witch doctor that you're expecting. And the whole thing is based around mysticism and the supernatural. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's probably it's something that I'm really anticipating because it's an issue 0. It came for free in the back of Walking Dead, and it might just be Image's best new thing.
Yeah, to be honest with you, boil it down, we got like some really interesting Image stuff going on here because this is basically like Frankenstein meets Dr. Sleepless. I mean, pretty much just,
Boils it down.
Boils it down. I mean, it's pretty much what it is.
What it does.
I mean, he's talking about, vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. Deals with vampires, and it's really awesome because it breaks down the funny aspects and a lot of the horror in it, but at the same time it comes off as horrific but funny all at the same time.
Dark. So
It's dark.
I haven't read it, but it's one of those generic. It's not one of those generic dark comedies.
No, not at all. Like it's like really funny. It's almost like going back with the whole, making fun of like Dracula and whatever with what's his face?
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what this is, but a lot more horrific. All right, that's pretty much what it is. And you know what?
It's a great new spin on vampires. I've not seen anybody try and delve
Which is
into that.
surprising. Well, you really don't expect to see a new twist on vampires these days.
I know,
Especially
right?
since there's been 800 versions.
Yeah.
And even better than that is that for those of you that aren't really willing to pick up a new book, for those of you that pick up Walking Dead, you can just pick this up, and it comes right on the back.
Extra treat.
Extra treat, can't beat it. Boom.
Everybody loves the word free.
Free. Next up, we got Strange Adventures, Vertigo, DC. We got a bunch of different authors and artists in this book. To sum it up, you got a lot of futuristic type of stories with some modern, but the only thing that these stories really have in common is the fact that they're all written very well, and they're all strange adventures.
I really wouldn't have expected that.
I know, with the name being Strange Adventures.
I'm not really sure whether or not I want to get into it now.
Really?
I didn't think that was going to be in
Might
it.
be too strange for you.
But don't you like Strange Adventures?
I think I will.
Think you will?
Tell me more.
Strange Adventures. We got people being in other people's bodies. We got a pleasure room. We got
Super multi-changing aliens.
super multi-changing aliens. And we got a story about two butts that just want to have a good time.
Oh,
Having a good time. Having a good time.
Yeah, I know all about two
And-
dudes want to have a good time, so I think I'll like it.
Right? Pick it up. Right?
Yeah. Man.
Do it. Aaron?
All right. Next, we have my most anticipated book for the last month and a half, Kirby Genesis. Of all of the stuff involving, the cosmic stuff, like this is where I'm at. I've always been a huge Kirby fan, and the New Gods is some of my favorite stuff of all time. It's the plot and script is by Kurt Busiek, and Alex Ross is the head art director for it. So we have him and Jack Herbert working together on the inside and on the outside. It is ridiculously beautiful, and there are some returning characters like Captain Victory, and we've got, and then there's not quite cameos, but you can see the similarities in a few. Like, this is obviously very similar to Darkseid.
Right. Like, to be honest with you, what it really ends up being is that they've managed to find a way on Dynamite, which, Dynamite's known for this type of stuff, of taking old characters that people, couldn't really care about anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Taking these characters that have been so far gone and, like, in the golden age, and they're corny, whatever, and...
They haven't even bothered recycled.
Right.
To be recycled.
Right. And this one has actually managed to do something that, in my personal opinion, they haven't really been able to do, like superpowers and stuff like that. Is the fact that they've actually managed to bring these characters and not make me feel like they just took a turd and just polished it and then threw it in your face. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much what this.
Oh,
It's
I wouldn't really compare Kirby's work to a turd, but
Well, I'm not saying that his work is. What I'm saying is that
This is as an example of what he didn't do.
Right.
He didn't take something that just a formula that was complete crap and then fixed it up. He made his own formula and just turned it into a thing of awesome.
Well, also mind you, that Kirby didn't even do this.
yeah,
These are characters created by Kirby.
yeah.
So
well, no,
right.
but I'm
Right.
saying you.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm comparing it to superpowers that managed to bring like all these old characters or like cliche golden age-esque characters, but just put them out with these stories that are just god awful, and like nobody really cares about them.
I didn't read
But
Superpowers.
but this right here brings you down on a personal level with these characters and bringing them into their own sort of continuity, and for Dynamite, who likes to like push that, golden age meets modern type of storytelling, it ends up being really good.
Yeah, it's got all of the Kirby flavor. You've got the world building and the in-depth characterizations that you expect from Kirby in this book, and it brings back Captain Victory, which there hasn't been a book for him in ages.
Not to mention, I've always personally been a fan. Everybody, just about everybody in the comic industry, just comic fandom, is in love with Alex Ross's art. It's hard not to be.
Right.
But other than that,
And something that's interesting involving him with the art in here, he's the art director for it,
Right.
and his art is combined with the art of the other artists.
Jack Herbert.
Yeah. So we've got the combination of his painted stuff with the penciling, as you can see here. It is just it's amazing, and I'm expecting this to go very far.
It's a very interesting combination, to say that. You don't really see that very often, but they actually managed to do it in a way It doesn't feel like it was just tacked on.
Yeah, and
You know?
that's the important thing.
So pick it up.
Yeah, it's my pick of the week.
If anything, just to have that in your Alex Ross Jack Kirby collection.
Mm-hmm.
Either one, it's definitely, in my opinion, going to be a collectible.
Agreed.
And people love to collect things,
Collect things.
especially in our business.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we got Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine by Jason Aaron. This book has managed to do something which I don't think I've seen anybody in Marvel do, which is they managed to take two characters that are so overly saturated in this industry. I mean, you have a bajillion Spider-Man comics coming out, you have a bajillion Wolverine comics coming out, and they're bleeding into a bunch of different other books. But this book has managed to take these two characters and make them better just in this book than even in their own titles.
Well, it's Jason Aaron.
Well, you know, say what you will about the writer, but there have been a lot of good writers that have done Spider-Man and Wolverine. But, I mean, he's managed to take a balance to these characters and make you care.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's not very common.
Well, the characters like these who have been popularized these days,
Right.
you only really care because they're there.
Right.
And people really kind of expect it. It's like, oh, Spider-Man and Wolverine. Yeah, they're awesome. But to a point, it's like you never really read a story that actually makes you ingrained in their lives, which is what gets you hooked on a character. And I haven't read anything like that thus far, aside from this.
Right. Which, you know, I'm going to tell you, beyond the fact that this is the last issue of this run. So, you know what? If you haven't been picking it up, you should, you know, pick up the trade when it comes out. If you've been consistently reading it or have access to the, you know, to the back issues, you should pick up this run. I mean,
High quality stuff. Across the board.
well said. Very well said.
I agree.
I concur. Pick it up.
Alright. Well, sweet. My section. my little love toy right now going on here. We have Green Lantern Corps, and Green Lantern Emerald Warriors. We're going to start off with Green Lantern because as of now it's in the War of the Green Lanterns run. Just a short little mini story, which I'm just loving. What I think is my favorite part about this is that they just fluidly went from Brightest Day back into their own storyline. It used to be Brightest Day was all about Hal Jordan and him trying to figure out about the White Lantern and everything, but now that just completely became about that whole section of the revived heroes, and they just managed to seamlessly put these characters back into their own storylines. Finally, which is what I've been waiting for. War of the Green Lanterns Part 7 generally focuses on Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner. And in this story, it's just them going after the Central Power Battery, trying to take out Parallax in order to save the Corps, because the Nemesis, Krona, Rogue Guardian, is controlling all of them. And I don't know, this book in general, Hal Jordan, as you read it, you kind of, in my personal opinion, I kind of was dissuaded from Hal Jordan. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Because Hal Jordan, the thing that kind of bugged me was he's been infected by Parallax, but yet he's in this book. You can see the yellow ring getting to him, and even Guy with the red, and Ganthet warned him.
Right.
But
well, even more to the point is the fact that Hal Jordan's had so many problems with Sinestro and the Sinestro Corps and the Yellow in the first place, and you know he had to deal with the whole Parallax thing.
Yeah.
But now he so readily took it, was just like, no, I'm cool.
Yeah. He's like, I can handle it.
Right.
But in reality, it's like you really can't.
No.
You've handled Parallax, and you can admit that. But when it comes down to it, just one ring is enough to still impose its influence.
Overcome great fear and instill great fear.
Yeah, which I mean is something. Is something I think is awesome. I personally don't like that. Like, it's going to come down to where they're not going to be wearing these rings anymore.
Yeah.
Guy's not going to be a Red Lantern, and Hal's not going to be a Yellow Lantern, which is kind of sad because Guy is awesome as a Red Lantern.
Awesome as a Red Lantern.
He's a badass. It's just flat out. Another great thing about this book is that it takes you right into the next book, and that is Green Lantern Corps. And Green Lantern Corps focuses on Kyle Rayner and John Stewart and their travels to go save Mogo. And this book, as I read it, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to focus on why I should care about John Stewart and Kyle Rayner. And then I realize it's not about them, it's about Mogo.
Very much about Mogo.
Everything comes down to Mogo as far as the Green Lantern Corps is concerned. He recruits the new Lanterns. He pretty much saved them countless times, and especially regarding Blackest Night, and that comes into play in this issue. John Stewart's come a little bit more into his powers as far as the Indigo ring, and so is Kyle Rayner with the blue. So they're getting a little bit more used to it, and not getting, which was something that they were struggling with in the previous issues. Definitely a major turning point as far as Green Lantern storyline happens in this book. Out of the three, this is definitely the book that you need to pick up, because there's something that happens in here, and I will not tell you. You have to read it.
Beyond the fact that you get to see John Stewart as played by Carl Weathers in A Color Purple. I mean, that's pretty much just what this is about.
I don't really get the I get the color choice, not really the outfit. It didn't really make sense. I understand the Marine thing, but really when it comes down to it, it's like you're wearing a bandana around your head that does nothing for you.
And you're wearing purple and white camo.
Yeah, tattoos.
Very butch.
It's like I don't know about you, but I can't see him. It's purple camouflage because it blends with everything.
Yeah, it just blends with everything. I mean, purple and white.
But more to the point, again, major issue. As far as the War of the Green Lanterns is concerned, this is the need to pick up book, and this is only part 8. This is not even. It continues after this, which it goes into and ends there, and then goes into Green Lantern Emerald Warriors, and this issue just brings them back all together. And I wasn't sure how I like that. It brought back all the human lanterns, and that comes into play once you read the book, because it finally brings and sort of groups them back all together against Krona, and brings it back to the main point that they were there for in the first place. The only thing about it that I did not like was the fact that it's a little too cliche for me, which is something that I was concerned about.
Almost like the old school Avengers stories where all the Avengers are in disarray, and then Captain America just shows them. It's just like Avengers assemble, and everything's back to status quo.
It didn't really click for me. They're in peril, everything's happening, and yeah, I can understand at a certain point how things come together, but really just the way they do it, it's just all of a sudden Green Lantern basically comes down to this: feel hard. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Any enemy that they're ever gonna have, it's gonna come down to, hey, just feel harder.
Feel harder.
And that's pretty much what it is. And it doesn't matter how much experience Hal's ever going to have with the Green Ring. Whenever he's facing a new enemy, he's going to have to reach some darker depth within himself to be able to beat this enemy. And it's just every time. That's what it is.
You know what? Voltron, man. Voltron. Alone, they can't win. But every time that they fail, they just have to get together, and then they win.
Well, I mean, that's classic formula. It's not something that I wanted to see in this.
Right.
Because it's something that I have seen before. I mean, okay, go ahead and rehash some old stories, but some old cliche formulas, but just give me something a little bit new. I mean, other than that storyline, it goes into something that I actually care about. It's finally getting it all together, and that's what I've been waiting for. Aside from that, the only real thing noticeable about the book is pretty much all of the Green Lantern movie advertisements that have been posted on everything. You see up on the top here, and on all the books, you got that Green Lantern advertisement posted all across the top. June 17th. That's not a plug. That's just when it comes out.
DC's just taking the chisel and just going.
Yeah, they haven't bothered. They haven't bothered.
Yeah, no, right? Alan Moore, you're Alan Moore.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
More movie stuff.
That's the thing. If you know your Alan Moore stuff, you're gonna want to read Green Lantern Corps, is what I'm saying. And if you understand what I mean by that, then I may have just spoiled it for you.
One word. Mogo.
Well, that was just not nice. But okay. Aside from that, I just kind of had these here because they're awesome. And as you can see here, you got your little leader here, Hal Jordan. Pretty awesome. And we got his little lead-based army here. I don't know. I can't really explain how awesome these are. If they actually moved, if they didn't weigh 5 pounds, I might play with them. And considering they're made of lead, I probably shouldn't have touched them.
He wants to play with them.
But I really want to play with these.
It's the same stuff the paint's made out of in my house.
They're hand-painted.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hand-painted, lead-based figures, fantastically made. And come on, I'm one of those biased Green Lantern fans, and I will buy anything Green Lantern, and this is one of them.
Indeed.
All I'm saying, when it comes down to it, these 3 books you need to buy, Green Lantern Corps in specific. But if these do go in chronological order, you need to get them.
And just wait, Flashpoint's gonna mess it all up.
Flash, God.
Next up, we got trade paperback, The Pro, which is some old school stuff. It came out a couple years ago now. But The Pro, Garth Ennis, I mean, best setup for a story ever. What would happen if a prostitute was given superpowers? That pretty much sums it up right there. I mean, you can use this for anything you want. I mean, it's very good. It's very well written.
The only thing I want to answer is okay, yeah, she gets superpowers, but does that really get rid of her chlamydia?
Nope. Some things just can't be cured. And you know what?
Actually, ironically, chlamydia can be cured.
Wow.
Yeah, treated.
Damn, I need to check
Antibiotics.
that out. All right.
Just a fun note. I don't know why I know that.
All right then. Well, The Pro, Garth Ennis, prostitute, superpowers. Superpowers and chlamydia, equally exclusive, everywhere.
I mean,
What's up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we got for Action Cans and Comics. As always, I'm Kevin. This was Aaron and Ricky. Join us next time.
Goodbye.